as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the narrow streets of London. A chilling stillness enveloped the old building where Demi lived. The air was thick with an unshakable tension, as if the very walls held their breath, waiting. It was in this atmospheric gloom that Demi, a vibrant young woman of 25, found herself lost in the labyrinth of her childhood memories. In the midst of unpacking, she stumbled upon an old, wind-up monkey toy, its painted smile eerily bright against the encroaching darkness. The little creature clutched two cymbals, poised as if ready to crash them together at any moment. Its glassy blue eyes sparkled with a life that seemed almost sentient. And in that moment, Demi felt a rush of nostalgia. This was not just any toy. It was a relic of her past, a whisper from her childhood. 11 years old again. She could feel the thrill of discovery pulsing through her veins. She remembered the day her family had moved into this creaky, time-worn home. It had been a chaotic whirlwind of boxes and bustling voices. Yet amid the madness, she had found this monkey, nestled among the remnants of someone else's forgotten childhood. She had wrapped her tiny arms around her father's legs, elated, believing him to be the bearer of this whimsical gift. "Thank you so much for the new toy, Dad," she had exclaimed, her voice a melody of innocence. But her father's puzzled expression lingered in her mind, a fleeting shadow that danced at the edges of her memory. He had never mentioned bringing her anything. Perhaps it had been left behind by the previous tenants, a remnant of a darker tale woven into the fabric of this old building. The chaos of moving had swept him away, and the moment slipped through her fingers like sand. Demi returned to the present, clutching the monkey as if it were a lifeline. It felt oddly warm in her hands, the paint slightly chipped and worn, yet it exuded a strange comfort. She wound the key at its back, and the monkey began to move, its cymbals clashing together, sending a shiver down her spine. A haunting melody filled the air, one that tugged at the corners of her mind, stirring something deeper, something buried. The sound echoed through the empty rooms, and with it came a wave of unease. The shadows seemed to stretch and twist, whispering secrets of the past that had long been forgotten. As the wind howled outside, rattling the windows like a ghostly chorus, Demi felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold of the night. What had once been a cherished toy now felt like a harbinger of something dark. With every clang of its cymbals, memories began to resurface, images of laughter intertwined with whispers of sorrow. The smiles of childhood began to fade, replaced by an unsettling sensation that perhaps the monkey was not merely a toy, but a vessel for something far more sinister. As Demi stood there transfixed, the atmosphere thickened, wrapping around her like a shroud. The air shimmered with a malevolence, and she realized, perhaps too late, that some toys hold secrets that should never be unearthed. The monkey's grin widened, as if it knew what was to come, and the shadows deepened, eager to consume the light of her innocence. And so began the tale of the monkey, a story steeped in dread, where the line between childhood wonder and terrifying reality blurred, echoing through the ages like the haunting sound of cymbals clashing in the dark. In a dimly lit room, shadows danced across the walls as Demi entered, her small fingers brushing against the rough surface of a forgotten toy. It was a monkey, its painted eyes staring back at her with an unsettling stillness. With eager hands, she found a key and twisted it, but the once animated creature remained lifeless, the rattle silent as a grave. Demi's restless spirit soon shifted. Her doll beckoned her, and the monkey was left to languish in a corner, its vibrant colors dulled by neglect. Night fell, draping the house in an eerie quiet, but the stillness shattered as a soft, metallic rattle echoed through the darkness. Demi stirred, blinking awake, but the sound slipped past her consciousness like a whisper in the wind. She drifted back into her dreams, unaware of the horror that awaited her. Morning light broke, yet it carried with it a weight of despair. Demi awoke to her mother's choked sobs, the news crashing around her like thunder. Her father had succumbed to a heart attack, an impossibility for one so young and full of life. Confusion clouded her mind, questions unformed, emotions tangled. All she could focus on was that monkey, its presence in her room somehow more tangible than the reality of loss. In the pall of mourning that enveloped the household, the monkey stood out, its grin grotesque against the backdrop of sorrow. It seemed to mock the grief, a silent observer as Demi's world crumbled. Days turned into weeks, and the monkey was relegated to a shelf, a relic of a happier time. Demi, too lost in her own anguish, never touched it again. Yet the notion of discarding it felt like an affront to her father's memory. As years slipped by, the monkey was buried beneath layers of dust and forgotten toys in a storeroom, a ghost of childhood tucked away from prying eyes. Time moved on, and Demi emerged into adulthood. A successful professional, her life now a whirlwind of ambition. With newfound resources from a promotion, she decided to breathe life into her home, to renovate and refresh. But before the transformation could commence, her mother suggested a purge of the old belongings, a cleansing of sorts. The task of sifting through the storeroom fell upon Demi's shoulders. As she rummaged through the dimly lit space, a carton caught her eye, its edges frayed and worn. She lifted the lid, revealing a treasure trove of her past. And there, nestled at the bottom, lay the monkey. The moment she grasped it, an icy chill swept through the air. The once innocent toy pulsed with an energy that sent shivers down her spine. The rattle, long silent, seemed to resonate with a haunting echo, as if awakening from a deep slumber. The monkey's grin appeared wider now, the painted eyes glinting with an unnatural light, a secret lurking beneath its surface. Demi's heart raced, a storm of memories crashing against her. What had once been a cherished possession now felt like a harbinger of dread. As she stared into the depths of its gaze, a chilling realization began to seep into her mind. Some gifts from the past are not meant to be cherished, but to haunt. Would she confront the darkness that lingered in that smile? Or would she let it creep back into the shadows, whispering secrets of a nightmare she had long tried to forget? A jolt of icy dread coursed through Demi's fingertips, an unsettling chill that crept up her spine and settled in her mind. In the dim light of her room, a forgotten relic lay motionless, the monkey toy, its surface unnaturally frigid, as if it had been exhumed from a frozen grave. Memories she thought long buried surged to the surface, vivid yet haunting. Without warning, the rattle in the monkey's hand began to tremble, a sinister quiver that sent a shiver down her spine. Panic surged within her, and without a second thought, Demi released her grip, casting the toy back into the shadows of the carton. It was time for the children of their family friend to play with it. Yet as she turned to leave, her phone pierced the silence with its shrill ring. The voice on the other end was laced with urgency, her best friend. Simone had been in a terrible accident. Heart racing, Demi abandoned her plans, rushing to the hospital, dread pooling in her chest. There, amidst the sterile smells and sterile faces, she learned the crushing truth. Simone lay in a coma, her life hanging by a thread. The doctor's expressions grim. A wave of despair washed over Demi, threatening to drown her. Later that night, she returned home, her heart heavy. In the dim light of her bedroom, the same chilling monkey sat ominously beside her bed, the rattle poised in its grasp. Initially, she assumed her mother had taken it out, but then her mother's voice cut through the darkness. "Where did you find that monkey?" "I threw it away years ago." "It's cursed," she declared, her tone laced with something resembling fear. A frigid wave of terror engulfed Demi, a realization dawning upon her. The following night spiraled into a waking nightmare. Each time the rattle shook, tragedy would strike. First, a distant relative succumbed to illness. Then the unfathomable happened. Simone slipped away from this world into the abyss. Coincidence, she thought, yet a dark seed of doubt took root within her mind. Could this cursed toy be the harbinger of death? Demi, a rational young woman, dismissed superstitions, yet the pattern was undeniable. The toy felt like a puppet of fate, strings pulled by some malevolent force. Desperate to sever her ties with the monkey, she attempted to incinerate it, but the flames danced mockingly, refusing to embrace the fabric of its being. She hurled it outside, but come dawn, there it was again, its vacant eyes gleaming with a sinister satisfaction. Defeated, Demi confided in her mother, who had long found the monkey unsettling. "I thought you kept bringing it back," her mother confessed, yet their shared dread deepened. This was not mere coincidence. Something dark clung to the toy. Together, they summoned a priest, their hearts pounding with dread. As he entered their home, the priest's gaze fell upon the monkey, and with a terrified gasp, he bellowed, "Where did this come from?" His voice trembled, an echo of the horror that loomed over them. In that moment, Demi understood. They had awakened something ancient, something that had lain in wait, ready to unleash its wrath. The room chilled, shadows deepened, and the air thickened with an otherworldly presence. The rattle shook once more, and in that sound lay a promise of unspeakable horrors yet to come. In the dim light of the crumbling house, a frantic whisper echoed through the air. The goddess, a figure trapped in her own terror, turned to the priest, her voice trembling as she confessed that it was her father who had unknowingly unleashed a darkness upon them. The priest's expression darkened. He shook his head solemnly. "No," he intoned, his voice grave. "This curse has been entwined with these walls long before your father stepped foot here. These monkeys, these cursed avatars, have always been a part of this house's sinister legacy." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle like dust in the stale air. "And this toy," he continued, his eyes narrowing, "it is no mere plaything. It is an abomination, a vessel for a demon that thrives on the despair of those it haunts. The moment you embraced its jingle, it intertwined your fates with its malevolence." Demi and her mother exchanged terrified glances, their hearts pounding like the rattle of the cursed toy. "As long as you remain in this house, the echo of that jingle will herald death. You must leave this place. It is your only hope." Panic clawed at their throats, and they nodded in agreement, desperate to escape the impending doom. But before they could flee the suffocating grip of their home, the priest commanded silence. With the solemnity of a ritual long rehearsed, he began the exorcism. Candles flickered, shadows danced on the walls, and the air grew thick with an otherworldly tension. He secured the cursed monkey in a box, the heavy lid closing with a finality that resonated through the room. A lock adorned with a crucifix clicked into place, sealing away the malevolence within. At dawn, with the first rays of sunlight piercing through the gloom, Demi and her mother fled, leaving behind the house that had become a prison of nightmares. Months slipped by like sand through fingers, and new occupants arrived, oblivious to the terror that had once lurked within. Among them was an inquisitive 8-year-old boy, whose laughter echoed through the halls until he discovered the box hidden away in the shadows. Curiosity ignited, he pried open the lid, and the cursed monkey, with its sinister jingle, sprang back to life. The air thickened, and the walls seemed to shudder as the boy's laughter turned to silence. A chill crept through the house, and once more, the jingle heralded a darkness that would not be forgotten. Friends, if this tale of dread has gripped your heart, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, SFK Storytales. Hit the bell icon swiftly for the latest spine-chilling horror narratives.